Hello, my fans and followers. Yes, I'm coming back to you today with Civilization 6 Gathering Storm. This is Chapter 5 of the Hungary Empire. We are going to continue with the story, but here's a bit about the Empire.
Hungarian Empire joins the world stage with Matthias Corvinus. From humble beginnings, you have shown remarkable growth. Leave your bronze for iron and rule of horse and sword. The sky above begins to reveal its secrets, a collection of heaven that uplifts our hearts and guides us to foreign shores. Mighty Matthias, your feats at arms are matched only by the depth of your knowledge. Let your mighty black army serve as your strong hand on the battlefield, both as sword against your enemies and as shield protecting your faithful people. And ages to come will utter your name in awe. That's the basics for Matthias Corvinus, the king of Hungarian Empire. He's got features like the Raven King, where levied units gain an ability in giving them +2 movement and 5 combat strength. It costs 75% less gold and resources to upgrade the levied units. If you levy troops from a city-state, you receive 2 envoys with that city-state. Also getting the Black Army a unique unit when the castle's technology is researched. Pearl of the Danube, 50% production bonus to districts and buildings constructed across the river from the city center. With the Black Army and the Hussar, also getting the thermal bath, a unique building. Not sure what that includes. We'll see in the game. Thanks for joining me.
So as we continue with the gameplay, again Chapter 5 is continuing from the previous Chapter 4. Shortly after, I quickly ran into this little description. I was trying to review myself while in the gameplay what he gets. So anyways, continuing from the story in the War of China, the Cino-Hungary War continues. Here, moving my new troops north. I know there's a barbarian camp up north. I'm going to try to go face off with just a few units. Later on, I found out I needed more, but that's okay. So I look around. I'm looking at different city plants, city layouts. Looking to end my turn here. China counteracts or counters my assault, trying to attack me from the city. A couple units. And look at that, we get the world wonder, the Petra has been completed, as I've foretold from the previous videos that was leading up to it. The Petra is finished. So as we look around, I'm going to show you different yields of the tiles. You glance at each mouse cursor. Right here you can see that I've got loads of production, gold, and food on almost every tile there of the desert. All that from the Petra wonder. So as I grow out and expand more to the full size, this Zedged will be a powerhouse. Eventually I'll have a navy there too. So looking at China here, seeing what's wrong with him. The World Congress will be coming up soon. Showing a little notice there about the awe of my wonder. Looking at this promotion. Promotion for the archers, the Arrow Storm. I always go with the Arrow Storm. First 2 promotions I do to help my archers attack lane units. That's what the Arrow Storm does. It increases that bonus. So as I continue to attack, I first hit the catapult here in my range. Now I'm hitting it with my swordsman. Took out the catapult. Advancing my scout forward to see that city. And advance the rest of my army. Meanwhile, I've got this other catapult here. The horse unit next to my catapult, my swordsman. Take care of that as well. Looks like I'm doing that right now. I gotta decide if I want to promote my catapult or not. If I do, I expend its turn. I cannot use it to fire. So I move the other catapult forward to back it up. I do fire with this catapult. About 50% of the, or about 15% of that horse health. Moving more of my units. I go back to the swordsman to see if I can defeat the unit, and I cannot. He's crippled down to about 25% of his health left. We'll see what he does his next turn on his response. Meanwhile, looking around the rest of China Empire, I was hoping I could reach him with that swordsman, but the river blocked me, so I pulled back. Bring in the spearman, which will actually take care of that horse if it's still there. Move my other horse around the mountain, scouting. Continue to advance this army against the barbarians. Meanwhile, I'm looking at my city here, seeing what I can do with Zedged. I think that worker moves in because I know that city settler is coming. Take me a few more turns, but you actually see the start of that new city there on the shoreline. Ending my turn, I got China's response. The horseman attacked my catapult and killed himself in my response. So he lost. Now it's my turn again. Choosing my production. Actually, I'm first going to answer this. So I upgraded my catapult. Got him defensive through promotion. Continued advancing my army down around Jadong. If I said that name wrong, I apologize to anybody who's from China. If you'd like to correct my pronunciation, that's fine. Take me a few turns to get my entire army down there, but you'll see me take Jadong at the end of this video. Some of my units look like they need to stay back and heal, but I decide that later on, I think. So I no longer needed that spearman there or that swordsman. Swordsman stays where he's at. Heal. Apply pressure for that city. Look around at Zedged. I decide, I think here. First, I'm realizing that wonder I wanted that Colossus out there, and I realized, wait a minute. It's too far out. My city will never reach that territory. So I actually delete the plan for the Colossus because I can't build that there as I hoped. Even if my territory grows that far, the city influence zone will not be able to reach it. But looking at the city layout, I think nope, I'm continuing to move units. I'll come back to that city later. So I continue to advance these troops. I got an archer here on the hills. I could shoot there I do. I fire at least one shot at the spearman. Got to decide what I want to do with this other archer. I move it into the valley between the hills. I'm not sure why yet. Turned out to be a mistake, I think. Meanwhile, on the other front, I've got my horse here. Looking to scout through the trees, beyond the hills, mountains. Looking at Buddha now. I take a few minutes looking at Buddha, but I'm basically trying to figure out what kind of wonder I want to build here. I know I want to wonder here eventually. So I'm looking at different districts to see what they offer, any bonuses, adjacent bonuses that they get. I'm trying to figure out the best plan for continuing to the production of Buddha and building Buddha outward. As you all notice, if you remember from my first video of this civilization, south of Buddha, right there next to the campus district is the government tile district. That government tile gives a double bonus to any district next to it. So right now the only one benefiting from that is the campus district. But eventually I'll have a culture district and an entertainment district next to that as well. So those will get some good bonuses from the government district. But I got to decide where I want to put the commercial hub, the industrial district. All that gets figured out here shortly. So as I'm looking at the different tiles, the best place for that commercial hub, which I eventually put, is along the river banks, just beyond the wonder there next to Buddha. I got the... It's funny when I forget the names of certain things, but... Anyway, beyond that wonder in the valley, there's the river bank that curves, which where the archers is currently sitting. I will put a commercial hub there. That's the best spot likely for that, because all 6 tiles surrounding that spot will have a bonus, adjacency bonus of gold from the commercial district due to the river itself. So as I continue to look around, I'm also trying to figure out My city's next to a mountain, so I know I'm going to eventually put an aqueduct there, and I got to decide where I want to put that aqueduct. An aqueduct will give me a big bonus. Actually, for the Hungary Empire, it's called a bath. It's a special district that replaces the aqueduct, which pretty much does the same thing. I got to figure out where I want to put that bath. And initially, I put the terracotta army reminder. I know I want that terracotta army, which I found out shortly after that I actually do not get that. But at the time I was playing this, I did not know that. So I was thinking the terracotta army there, but I was like, no, it would be better to put an aqueduct there. And if I put an aqueduct there, I want likely put a industrial district too. I ended up removing the terracotta army, even though I'm looking at it. I realize I need an encampment district for the terracotta army. Terracotta army has got to sit next to an encampment district. And the encampment district has to have either a barracks or a stable, which either one helps produce bonuses for army units of foot troops or cavalry, respectively. So as I continue to look around the city, I'm looking at the different pins. I can look at the layouts or the selections on the city build list, or I can look at the pins as well. The pins will give the same descriptions as the city build list. So I eventually remove the terracotta army. I move it to where I actually plan the commercial district. So again, I removed it a second time. Like I said, this game takes a lot of pre-planning. If you want to exploit your city to the best abilities, the best of what your cities can offer, you have to take a lot of effort in planning ahead, and that's what I'm doing currently. So it's not so much the strategy of conquering, building military and conquering, it's also the strategy of building an empire that will literally stand the test of time. That's the whole catch of this game. As far back as Civilization 1, their catch motto is, will your civilization stand the test of time? So as I'm looking around, now I'm seeing what the theater square will give me. If I'm next to the government plaza, which I mentioned where that's located, I get a bonus there. So I put that there. It's next to the government plaza. It's also next to a wonder, which will give a bonus from the Stonehenge. That's the wonder I was trying to think of earlier, next to the city and the commercial district. That Stonehenge will give the theater district a bonus. And then if I get the terracotta army there, we'll give the theater district a bonus. And then having other districts, including the city plaza, the government plaza, and the encampment district, will all give better bonuses to that theater district. It's going to be a theater powerhouse, if all that comes true. Again, I don't end up getting the terracotta, so I eventually decide to remove the encampment as well. The encampment is the red district. That is like your military base for your city. Every city gets to choose at least one, or only one encampment district, and it basically replicates the city's walls, which gives us a duplicate city attack. So the city, once the encampment is built, see me looking at China, had an encampment earlier, I believe, and one of my other cities has an encampment. The city encampment duplicates the city walls and its counterattack ability, as well as its defensive posture. So you have two different tiles in one city that do the same thing, defensively and counterattack. So as I continue to look, trying to figure out, again, best place to put, it was so much to choose, so much to figure out, so many different things to try to calculate, predict. So I then realized, okay, here we go. Industrial district here. This is where my final decision comes from. So if I put the industrial there, I put right here where the current stone is at, not the Stonehenge, but the rocks. I put an aqueduct there, put an industrial district there. And then if I could put a dam on the other side of the industrial district, right in that floodplain, I've got two double bonuses on the industrial district, plus its adjacency bonus with the commercial hub. Eventually, I will put the encampment to the right of that industrial for its second district adjacency bonus. So I'll get a good bonus of industry with all that combined. Meanwhile, I've finalized, that's my final decision for the commercial. I cannot change that now. I planted the district. You cannot remove a district plant once you plant it. You cannot delete or you cannot remove any districts when you build them in your city. From the initial point you plant a district, they're there permanently. The only time that they get removed or destroyed is if somebody actually captures your city. Most districts will be destroyed if they are pertinent to your civilization only. Some districts will remain unless the invading party decides to actually completely destroy your city, then everything is gone. So I think with all that figured out, I end my turn. I'm progressing forward. I'll come back and look at that city later. I'm now looking at, just looking around. There's the barbarian counter. Here we are looking at the World Congress, and the World Congress is kind of the game's way of saying all the world parties come together in the world body to come up with kind of like NATO, if you guys are familiar with real world events going on, the European Union kind of deal. So the World Congress predicts various resolutions that you choose from. You vote yay or nay, and then you make your suggestion on the yay and nay, and then you add how many delegates you want to actually vote for that. So it basically is you against all the other parties in the game. In this game, it's all AI. So I come back, I look to see what my promotions were suggested. They all passed. The military advisory combat strength has been approved, and the great scientist suggestion has also been approved. Both of those will benefit me, but they'll also benefit anybody else wanting to use those. So as I go back into the gameplay, I completed the stir-ups. Now I'm also looking at mercenaries. I completed that as well. I take a moment to go change my policies. I remove maneuver and I replace it with professional army, which gives me a discount gold to my army. As you guys have noticed, I'm building up a pretty big army, so that's getting pretty heavy in my taxes for the army. I just reduced the cost of my army. Meanwhile, this counterfight with the barbarians, I'm moving my troops around as the archers are taking shots. I realize I've got a crossbow. That's going to hurt. That crossbow is going to cost me. And I should have moved this archer here over there, but I decided to go the other way. Not sure why. Probably realized it's going to take a while, and it wasn't going to be any use. Anyways, so there I destroyed that stone, as I mentioned, which gave me a production bonus to the current build, which is the commercial district. I cut that commercial district from 8 turns down to 2 turns. So moving these units down, I got my worker there, moving the rest of my army in. I'm going to take a shot as the catapult has a remaining turn left. That's the only shot there. The battering ram moves in to help the soldier, the swordsman. He can't quite attack yet, so I eventually continue to move the rest of my army around Jaedong. Oversaturation is the way I usually play. You've got to plan ahead that you're going to lose a couple troops in the fight, and if you're going to lose a couple troops and you plan for it by oversaturating, as you lose some troops, you move in other reserves that you have behind the lines into the front of the lines to continue your assault. So that's why I oversaturate. I realize I don't need as much. That town was pretty weak. So as we continue, and just looking around, trying to figure out what else I could do. So that catapult got crew defenses as well. I always add the crew defenses to my catapults. It helps them defend themselves when they get attacked. Catapults are pretty weak on defense. They have a huge attack, especially against cities, but they're fairly weak on defense. Continue to move around, look around. I end the turn, watching barbarians, see what they do. I just discovered the wonder was completed, as you see to the right of my map. Next turn I look over, I see that wonder is finished. I am not able to build the terracotta army. It's been completed by another civilization, of which I do not know. So I removed the terracotta army just now. I realize as I further plan, I know I want that commercial district, or the theater district there, but if I do, I want another wonder next to it. So I'm trying to figure out other wonders I can put there. I like this Colosseum. Where the horse is currently at, I decide I'm going to put the entertainment district. So I have to remove the horse and also remove the iron eventually to put the theater. I know it moves a little fast, but I'm kind of talking you through it anyway. So I did put the Colosseum in the forest next to the theater district. The entertainment district, which was the gold one I placed, is where the horse is currently located. I eventually removed those tiles so I could build those districts. Always want to remove everything on a tile before you build something. You get better bonuses that way, you're very guaranteed. As you can see right there, I removed the harvest, or the stone, prior to building anything on that tile. Currently looking to see science. I'm going to go look, see, I've got Niter coming, as well as the Future Scout, I believe, or the Explorer, which is that icon. And then, not sure what that icon is, military engineering, but after Niter, I plan the apprenticeship, which would give me the industrial district, and then a couple other sciences I queued up. So back to my fight, continuing to advance. So I first moved this catapult. I've got trees in my way, so actually that catapult can hit because he's on a hill, so he's looking over the trees. But the other catapult in the range, I cannot fire over these trees because they're on the same level terrain. They're not on hills, which was a setback. It delays my assault because I cannot fire until I get them closer. So I did that. Figure out what else I could do here. I think I was thinking, I'm not sure why I was stalling there, but yeah, I was thinking about what else I could do. So I think I eventually moved some of those units away from the city going north. I realized I need some of these units to help out with the barbarian and assault. Or at least I don't necessarily need them, but I know I moved them to plan ahead in case the barbarians become worse than they turn out to be. So back at Buda, I believe I'm looking at Buda, trying to figure out what all I could do with Buda, bring in a couple workers to help clear out some tiles and build more terrain or improvements, land improvements. So yes, I removed that pasture. Oh, not quite yet. I plan to, but I haven't done it yet. So as I end the next turn, wait to see what the, So I got to decide here if I want to fight or not. Nope, I'm going to pull back that archer. He is hurting. That crossbow, like I said, is going to hurt. So he did some damage to my archer. Pull back my other archer. I try to create a funnel here. You see on both sides, there's hills and then there's a single layer of valley or flat land. So I try to create a funnel there to draw in the swordsmen. That's when I realized I'm going to pull back some of these troops. They might need my help with those barbarians. What I've got around Jaedong is sufficient enough to finish Jaedong next turn. This horseman moves to continue to scout, and I believe I end my turn here. Yeah, ending turn. Oh, wait, unit needs orders. I moved that horse. Who else needs orders? This archer, what do I do with him? I move him back up north. And I believe I end the turn now. Get them planned, but they're not moving. They don't have any movement points. Move the scout forward. Now I'm going to end my turn. So as I end my turn, we'll see China's response. Oh, I meet a new leader. I've got Pericles. I don't know. French. No, not French. Greek. Can't even speak right. So try to see what Greek wants. I end up removing all those delegates, and I just ask for gold. He wants my ivory, so I'm trying to bargain to see how much I can get away with asking for. Again, I always ask for a set amount. 50's too low, 60 too low, 70 too low, 80's kind of too high, 80 even, no, 78, yes. He accepted 78 for my ivory. So he gave me 78 gold one time. I gave him my ivory for 30 turns. Again, I don't like turn-by-turn payouts because you can never rely on them to come through. So back to the gameplay. So as they are advancing against my army, I am pulling back. I keep my spearmen, I believe, on the hill. I've got this horseman coming in. Trying to decide if I want to attack that X-bow, and I do not, because the X-bow is going to hurt my spearmen. So I put my spearmen inside the forest. I should have left them on the hill. He would have been fine. So I just now removed the horse pasture that was there with the tile. And before I plant the entertainment, my next turn, I'm going to harvest those horse and get a production bonus. So by harvesting the horse will actually give me a bonus toward anything in the production queue. Meanwhile, advancing more troops, attacking archers, 2 catapults, 3 catapults attack and a single archer. It's enough to damage the town. My swordsman there will clear it out here shortly. I actually don't... that's enough right there, actually. 1 catapult couldn't fight back yet. He didn't have enough turn. So I took Jaedong, but I do not destroy Jaedong this time. I know I want some peace now. I eventually decide to end this war. I know a peace deal is coming because usually the AI does not like to continue losing cities. So I know eventually he's going to offer me peace. Which this next in turn he does, I believe. That's his encampment district. Notice his defenses are equal to the city's defenses of Laksing. Again, if I said that name wrong, sorry. So I continue to look around before I end turn. I ended it. Before I can end my turn, it says I got units needing orders, so I gotta go wait and see what those units want. Just gonna fortify him there because I don't want him to backtrack. He needs to stay where he's at. Those 2 archers will stay there and heal. Next turn they'll continue to fight. There's the peace deal. So he wants a peace deal, obviously. So I do broker a peace deal, but I ask for a pretty heavy payback. We went to war. I won, as far as I can tell. So you're gonna give me what I want, pretty much. If you ever play me in multiplayer, if I offer you a peace deal, you better take it the first time, because every time after that, I'm gonna make it more steep and higher. So if you refuse it, I'm gonna continue to attack you, and I'm gonna make it even steeper for you to give me something. I do negotiate this a little bit. I end up asking for 20 delegates. He gives me those. So I get 20 delegates. I do keep the per turn gold only because I also got silk per turn, and when it's a peace deal, you have to commit to at least 10 or 15 turns. So I know he cannot break that deal for 10 or 15 turns. Plus, it's pretty heavy gold up front, so it's a good deal for me. Peace is declared between me and China. He gave me a little bit of most of what I wanted. This war here, this battle here continues with the archers. My horsemen able to attack the crossbows, do about 50% damage. My horsemen slightly hurt. Jaedong now belongs, I give Jaedong back to China, and that's why I asked the silk and the heavy gold. Unfortunately, my troops are on the other side of Jaedong. So I'm looking here, can't really do anything with them, so I heal him, set him to heal. I wait for the swordsman to get closer to my spearmen. Plant the city, Debrecen has been founded about 20-something turns late, all because of the China War. If you guys remember back in Chapter 2, I believe it was, China planted a city there that I wanted, and that was the whole start of the war. Hey, who knows, maybe China and I could have been great friends. Not. I know China in this game. They're very war hungry. I was warmonger in the beginning because I knew how China is. You have to beat them to the punch. If you let China grow huge, they will become an unstoppable powerhouse. So here I harvest the horse. Huge production bonus. I finished one build there, I think, and started another build. Now I've got the entertainment district planted. That district is permanent. So I'm hoping I get that Colosseum because I've got the entertainment started. I eventually realized I do not want the encampment district where it's at. Yep, I deleted the encampment district, or going to. I looked at it, but it didn't delete it yet. Here I'm looking at Debrecen, trying to see what I can do here. I buy a couple tiles. Actually, I buy one now, but I'll buy another one later to expand my borders before China gets those tiles. In this game, once you have border tiles, your opponents or your neighbors cannot take those tiles. Each tile is dedicated to one city's civilization only. The only exception is when you have culture bombs with certain districts. But that's a lot to explain unless it actually happens. So there's no culture bomb happening here, not right now. So meanwhile, this city, I put a harbor here. Why, you ask, I put a harbor near a lake? Because if you notice, I actually have a canal planned to the right. The two water bodies are separate by one tile, but if I can get a canal built there, I can pass my naval units through that land tile, and it's still considered a land tile that my land can walk over. So Debrecen will become a naval powerhouse because there's a lot of production opportunities there to build good production improvements later on. So meanwhile, if I put a canal there and I see that eventually I need aqueduct, where am I going to put the aqueduct? First I built the plantation for the silk, but then I realized in the future potential, I'm like, wait a minute, seriously, I could plan. Yep, that's what I do. I go into city planning. I'm going to build an aqueduct next to the lake, build an industrial district in between the aqueduct and the canal. So if you notice, that is going to be a production bonus there. I've got the harbor next to it, so the industrial district will have at least 3 districts next to it. I need a 4th one eventually, but there's a lot of potential for a 4th district surrounding that industrial. At the moment, those 3 right there are a good plan. Also, I eventually planned a commercial hub just north of the harbor and the city center next to the mountain, just because that's a good spot for a commercial. It'll bonus off the harbor and the city combined. Anytime you have any production that's a district, or any district that has a yield of some sort, if you pair it up with any other district and there's 2 of them combined, adjacent, you get an adjacency bonus just by having the districts next to each other. So the harbor itself will have 3 or 4 districts next to it. The city center will have 3, but the city center won't get any bonus. The industrial district will have 3 next to it. Eventually we'll have a 4th one, that kind of deal. So if you could double up in even numbers, or the way you plan districts in even numbers adjacent to each other, they can get bonuses pretty good. Meanwhile, I'll move this archer. I do fire the bow, and I know you're all thinking, that's silly, those are arrows. Well, in this game, it doesn't consider that. It just takes whatever damage the arrows will apply, and applies that number to the boat unit, despite it being a boat. If you actually think about it, old-fashioned boats were probably pretty vulnerable to arrows anyways. So now I realize this war is over. What do I do with these units? My time is actually running out with those units that I levied from my city-state. So at about the next 2 or 3 turns, you'll see me move a bunch of these units into the water. And you're going to ask, why? Why would I put them in the water? Well, they're going to go out and scout. They're going to try and get me something to see out in the water before I lose total control of those units. Meanwhile, I'm looking to see if I can denounce China, but I cannot. Obviously, the war just ended. So the tone of that music there, I believe that, actually not quite, but, we're almost getting to the end, but not quite yet. So here I fire a couple shots here, a couple shots there. I weaken both of those units. This turns out to actually lose. I should have pulled back and waited to heal my units. But at the same time, if I did that, it would have given the barbarian camp more time to grow, and I wanted to clear these out. So I will lose an archer the next turn. You'll see me lose 1 unit. I was trying to think of how much more to fight. I fortified that spearman. He stays there. Continue to move the rest of these units north in case I need their help. As I continue to do so, I realized I could have given him a promotion, but if I did that, he wouldn't be able to fight. Once again, I mentioned before, if you give a promotion to a unit when they earn a new promotion, it expends their turn. They can't do anything else. So if I did that, he wouldn't have been able to fire. In fact, he fired on the enemy. He cannot get his promotion. Unfortunately, that will be his demise. 2 things I could have done with that archer. I could have pulled him back 1 turn, 1 tile, and then had him fire, but then he wouldn't have fired on this expo. That expo is going to be a danger to me if I don't weaken him. So here, looking at Zedgid, I expand my territory. I plant the harbor. That will start to build me boats once that harbor district is built. That will become a naval powerhouse there with all that production, all that bonuses, the yield that I'm getting from the Petra, all those desert tiles. I have bonus in production as well as bonus in food. That will become a huge city later on. And with that Venetian army, that wonder that's in the water just north of the industrial and the theater district, the purple, that Venetian army will give me a duplicate copy of all naval units built once that Venetian army. It's one of my favorite wonders in the entire game from beginning to end. That is one of my top wonders that I always go for. Why? Because I know, one, the AI hardly ever does that. I've never seen the AI take that. I don't know if it's because I always get to first or what. Never seen the AI try to go for that. But anyway, I've got myself a free religious unit that just got born there at the heart of the religious holy city. You'll see that next turn. I'll give him a bonus. I actually increase my faith. Continue to move some of my units here. Some of them have the little clocks. I'm putting them in the water. Any unit that has clock is the unit that I have levied from my ally. So that's what I'm doing. I'm moving all the levied units that I have out in the water so I can see and scout before I lose the control. I think I lose control in 2 more turns. Continue on, see what this... I see that barbarian boat go north. I'm trying to see if I catch it. I know you can't chase a boat with an archer, especially an archer that only moves 2 tiles a turn. But I try anyways in case he comes back. Continue to move more units back into my cities. Never want to keep all your units congregated in one spot of your empire, because if you attack, you eventually will have weak spots and vulnerabilities. So if your army is not doing much, spread them out and get them defending all angles of your empire. I mean, if you're at war, obviously you want to get most of your units concentrated where the war is, but you still don't want to leave other angles vulnerable. So sometimes I'll move my army units to my cities and they just sit there and do nothing. And you're like, why? Well, because they're standing ready just in case I get an assault or attack on that side. So I'm looking back at the Buddha here, and I'm looking at different wonders, deciding what else I want to do with the city. So I put that plan in. It's not built yet because it's queued up behind the commercial and the market. Or the the entertainment and the market for the commercial. My market district building is a building in the commercial district. So I realize I really don't want this encampment here, because if I do that, I'm going to have to remove that cotton. I don't want that cotton. So it's the only supply of cotton I have at the moment. So I decided elsewhere, and I realize the industrial district is will be adjacent to 3 districts. And I mentioned earlier, if you pair them up in pairs of 2, so if I add the encampment to the other side of my industrial district, then the industrial district will have 4 adjacency bonus. Have 4 districts adjacent to it. Actually, no, the industry does not have the city. It has the commercial hub, the dam, and the aqueduct all planned. Those are 3 districts that it has planned. So even though I put the encampment out farther into the floodplains, I eventually remove that as well, and I decide I want to go somewhere else with the encampment. That's going to be the other side of the industrial. Meanwhile, I'll move this worker over. He plants the stables where the horse are. This other builder, looking to see what else I could do with him. I don't know why I moved him. I wanted so much more done in that city, but that's enough for the moment. So I missed the 15-minute mark, but that's all right. A few minutes past the 15-minute mark. We are close to finished. As we finish out, just want to mention that most of the combat is expired. The war with China is over at the moment. There will be a future war with them eventually, but here we are watching this combat with the barbarians. As I mentioned, I lost an archer unit, and I continue with that. I got less than 15 minutes remaining to the end of this. Just more city building, more city planning. Here's my faith I mentioned. I got that customizing my religion with the belief add-on. I apologize, the music's a little bit too loud. I eventually go with the crusade. So I will get a combat bonus to all my army as they are attacking any city that shares my belief. What does that mean? Eventually, I'm going to grow a huge religion by expanding my religion forcibly against any target I decide to expand against. So in the future, I will be first trying to convert cities to my religion, and then I will attack them because I will have crusade. I love that crusade. Gives me a pretty huge bonus, especially when all my combat units get that same bonus. So there it is, showing crusade as part of Sned-Dedijian. Can't even say that name. I butchered that name so many times. I made that name up too. Anyway, back to the barbarian fight here. I'm going to fire on this cross. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to fire with the archer on the swordsman. I take the crossbow out with my horse. I should have done that first, and I would have had at least an adjacency bonus, possibly, to hurt the swordsman. But I don't. I first fire at the swordsman, and then I move the spearman to attack the swordsman, thinking it was enough to kill the swordsman. It wasn't. As you can see, the swordsman survived at least one more. So I move in. I do kill these crossbows. I was lucky to get rid of him there. I was thinking I could move him there, but because of the hill, and he's also adjacent to this other swordsman, he cannot move. He's locked in with zone of control. Anytime you're adjacent with your enemy, any type of units from any civilization adjacent to any other combat unit, most units are locked in with zone of control, meaning you can only move one tile per turn along the zone of control. That's why I couldn't move him more than what I had. So as I continue looking to see what else I can move him, this is the last turn for these guys in the water. Next turn they will all be black. They will be part of my ally. So as I go back to my city, trying to see what else I could do. I know that archer was still looking for that other boat. I don't know why. He's not going to be able to get him unless he gets close to the shoreline. So I put a camp there for that ivory. I got more ivory now. As your cities grow, each luxury you have only bonuses 4 cities. So even though I've got ivory, if I get more than 4 cities, then the rest of those cities will not have the ivory until you double up the ivory. So now that I got 2 supplies of ivory, will help the growth of my city, make sure that I got happiness or entertainment bonus for them. So this fight with the barbarians continued. They counter me. That one killed himself by attacking my archer. He was able to defend himself and survived. He gets a promotion bonus. I go with the one that bonuses against land units more. And I'm looking to see who wins most. I first weaken him with the spearman. I'd be able to kill that swordsman with my horse. That is the last of that barbarian. For now, there will be one more unit later on the barbarian camp. So as I continue to move the rest of my troops back into my safe zone, my civilization, continue to look at Debrecen, find out what I can do here. So as I get near the end of this gameplay, it will eventually start to look at Niter. As I discover Niter, and then I start finding Niter, that's the end of the video. So prior to that, I just want to say thank you all for watching. There's still a few moments before that. I just want to make sure I get that out of the way. Again, I do appreciate everybody joining. So as I look back at Zedged, ended my turn actually. Wait to see. Oh, somebody needs orders. Not him. Well, actually, it is him, but he eventually skipped his orders because he can't do anything until next turn. He gets full movement points. Nothing else I could do. I in turn look. All those units are now my allies. I no longer own them. They get the promotions I gave them, and then he has control of his own. Periskis, or the Greek there, I declared friendship with, and he agreed. So this is the spearman. I give him echelon, which gives him a bonus against horsemen. He already has bonus against horsemen. That just increases now. He is now a better attack at horsemen, which that's what they specialize in. So I tried to focus on that for certain units. Get them healed or moving towards that barbarian encampment. I put the battery. That's the last time I ever used that battery ram. He eventually promotes to, if he believe this, a medic, and I don't see how that transitions, but that's what the game has. So my archer here is scouting in the waters. Just looking around, see what else I could do. Again, it's getting close to the end, but I'm not quite sure how soon yet. So I'm looking around to see what I could do. I don't know why I deleted that aqueduct. I want that aqueduct there, but I guess I don't want to build it quite yet. Yeah, I don't know why I removed that aqueduct. Hopefully I remember that that's where it goes. Civilization, once again, it's a open-end game about building up your own civilization. Build as many cities as you want. Each city gets customized however you want it. You don't want all the cities doing the same thing. You want them each specializing something differently, as well as defending your own city. I always put my cities to where they circally surround my capital. Capital would be Buda, the first city you start with. So it just says there, I discovered niter. I'm eventually going to go start looking for niter. I want to see where all the niter is. The apprenticeship will be finished soon. I'm going to have an industrial district able to build soon enough. Looking to further see what I could do with science. I just looking to see what was available. I wasn't looking to build anything or change anything. I don't think. I think I keep the order I have it. Next is apprenticeship, and then after that is military tactics. I think I do go with the metal casting to get that pike and shot, which also gives me artillery. I do look around. I actually decide I'm going to... Well, first off, this horseman could die. It was a risk I took, but I took the risk. The horseman survived, cleared the barbarian camp, and as well deleted the scout that was there. The horseman is hurt. Hopefully I'll bring him back home soon for healing. Anyway, I was mentioning back in the north shoreline, I eventually plan a city there, but I don't plant it yet. It's just predicting it. I think I eventually change that, plan 2 more cities, either angle. As you can see, there's a new resource on the tile here and there. It's a white resource with a red icon, that right there. Because of that, I planned another city out in that shoreline. I eventually removed that encampment. That's when I decided I'm going to put it in the hills just east of the industrial district for Buda. That next city will have turtles, crabs, niter, stone. Lots of good potential out in that shoreline right there. So again, I do come to the end here momentarily. I want to thank everybody for joining me on Chapter 5. This is Hungary Civilization, Civilized or Not series. There will be more. Next time I will continue to build, and I will continue to produce this civilization. I will plant more cities. I will continue to explore my terrain, the land surrounding me south of China. I want to see how much is over there. That will come up in the next video, I believe. And I will soon have Navy units. So I was setting a reminder. I want to keep that niter. So I was reminding myself to build a mine there eventually. First I need the city there for it. So that's where initially I planned the city, but I don't plant that there yet. I change that eventually, I believe. Looking at the Zimbabwe, I was trying to compare if I wanted the Zimbabwe there or the other city farther north, because the other city also has cattle. But because Miskolc is already developed pretty good, I do keep the Zimbabwe there. I was just looking at comparing it to other possibilities. Zimbabwe once again gives me a good bonus to any bonus resource, which is bananas, stone, cattle, etc., etc. Those resources will give me an extra gold bonus to any international trade route once the Zimbabwe is built. Plus it gives me a hefty gold bonus as well. So Miskolc, once I mentioned before in the last video, Miskolc will become a financial powerhouse in the future. So as I ended that turn, the turn's processing. looking to see what I could do with my envoy. I send it to Candy to balance it out with the other city-state. Bringing back that horseman so I can get him healed. Looking to build the arena, I believe, there in Buda. Or I go back and... oh, I swap the arena. I get the arena started first, and then I put the market for the financial district as well. So looking around, moving my people around, I eventually planning on wonder here, and I want to start starving my people so I get the most production out of for my wonder. Once again, I've mentioned before, I do that when I'm building wonders. I try not to lose population, but I'll starve them as much as I can to get the most production for as long as possible. So that is the end of the video. As I look up this niter, it will fade out. I thank you all for joining me today. Stick around for the next chapter, chapter 6 of Civilized or Not, the Hungary Chapter. Chapter 5 ended. Stick around for chapter 6 and next time. Thanks again for watching Civilization 6 Gathering Storm.